like to entertain a motion to return from executive session.
Motion.
Question? All in favor?
Aye.
We are now back in public session, and we will proceed with public comment. Please note, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to convene into public comment period of our meeting. Although state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community. Please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a discussion. If we are not able to respond tonight, we will respond to your questions and concerns at a future meeting, or have Dr. Strickland appoint the appropriate staff to get back to you at the appropriate time. This is because we take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. On personnel matters, we ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. Under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments or questions about school personnel. Please know, however, that we take personnel concerns very seriously. We are currently preparing a comprehensive organization chart which denotes who should be contacted for different issues. This document, I believe, is now available to you. Finally, we want our school board meetings to serve as an example to our students and hope that members of our school board and members of our community can deal with controversial issues in a civil manner and demonstrate mutual respect for one another. We ask that speakers please address their comments to the board directly rather than the audience. We will insist that all speakers and members of the audience maintain civility and respect for any divergent views. In the unlikely event the meeting becomes unruly, the board will recess the meeting and return once order has been restored. Finally, I want to remind everyone that if you so choose, in lieu of speaking during the public comment period, you may submit written comments to the board at boetrustees@mtvernoncsd.org, or our district clerk, Rita James, rjames@mtvernoncsd.org, or our superintendent, Dr. Strickland, at dstrickland@mtvernoncsd.org. Each individual speaker will be allotted 3 minutes. If you do not use your allotted time, it will be forfeited and it is not eligible to be yielded to another speaker. The individual time limits will be enforced so that as many members of the public who wish to speak may be allowed to do so. Normally, we give you 1 minute to wrap up. We will not be doing that this evening. You will be limited to 3 minutes. We want to thank you for your cooperation. The board will now entertain public comments. However, I would like to remind you, if there are comments that we deem that are inappropriate and violates any federal or state privacy laws, we will ask you to discontinue the comments. And if there are topics that are more than 3 people are speaking on the same topic with the same information, we will not entertain the other comments. So just to let you know that in advance. So Clerk James, please announce our first speaker.
First speaker this evening is Mark Stuckey.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Stuckey. I am the whistleblower of the City School District. This evening I come to you and I bring an issue that's dealing with the fire that took place here in the city of Mount Vernon. We have 2 firefighters who are in the hospital. We have God knows how many people have been displaced. I'm standing here because I'm working over there, and I'm seeing what's taking place. Last night was my first tour over there. And there was this young lady who lost everything. She was about 20, no more than 25 years old. She sat on the bench and she wept because she was hurt. Everything was cut up inside of her. Her heart is broken. We cannot even think about what these people are going through. Meaning what I'm saying that I'm a person who just talk the talk. But I care about my home, and I love my home. If you like me, you like me. If you don't like me, I do not care. But to watch what's taking place right now at our school, at home school, is devastating. But I would like to think every single resident who came out and supported these families. They say it takes a village. The village showed up and showed out. The village came out and they gave that support. So with the firefighters and the village fighting to keep the things going and the district opening up the doors to wind up saying, hey, we're giving you something. We want you to be comfortable. Believe those who are working in from this district over there to help keep the place cleaned and whatnot under direction of the superintendent, we are busting our behinds because we want those people to be comfortable. With 30 seconds left, 29 seconds, I'm asking everybody, don't touch your tablet, your laptop, respect in a moment of silence. Respect. Thank you very much. And to the state auditor, thank you for your report. It was 100% past time and well due. I say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stuckey. Just with that comment, I want to also say thank you to this entire board, who some of our board members were affected directly through their family members. We've had board members that have been there from the moment that they heard about it, 24/7. I want to thank especially Trustee Brown and Trustee Peterson that I know that have been, on the front lines. We also took a visit there today, and I will just say that it really is very moving, and I want to say thank you, Dr. Strickland, for moving so quickly and for offering the services of the district to a very devastating situation. And also, I'd like to acknowledge that we have two board members that have also joined us, Trustee White and Trustee Kelly, and also acknowledge our Trustee Ardoro.
Our next speaker tonight is Tashina Haywood.
Good evening, all. My name is Tashina Haywood Mensah. I've been working here in the city of Mount Vernon for 23 years, teaching 26. I am a product of Mount Vernon. This is my home. Born and raised here, I have a vested interest in Mount Vernon. I have nieces and nephews in the schools in Mount Vernon. I'm here tonight because I was deeply concerned about the safety and the overall learning environment in BTA. Recently, I requested a meeting with a parent to discuss their child's academic and ongoing behaviors in multiple areas in the building. Instead, I was approached by a parent inside the school who got directly in my face, used profanity towards me, and behaved in a threatening and intimidating manner. Feeling unsafe and unprotected, I reacted verbally in a way that does not reflect my normal professional conduct, and I want to acknowledge that openly. No teacher should ever be put in that position at work. What is also troubling is that at no point did the administrator afford me a conversation or even a meeting to discuss the facts about what happened. I wasn't given an opportunity to explain the circumstances or to be supported as a staff member who had been threatened. Instead, the administrator immediately forwarded the matter to Human Resources for an investigation. This approach not only left me feeling unheard and unprotected, but it also bypassed the basic expectations that administration or administrators support and communicate with their staff during incidents that involve safety. Following the incident, mediation was suggested. I want to be perfectly clear. I decline mediation. My reason for doing that is because I was still feeling threatened, and the parents' actions created a hostile and unsafe environment. Mediation is not appropriate when one party has been subjected to intimidation and has been verbally attacked. Staff should not be expected to participate in conflict resolution that minimize or overlook threats to their personal safety. A district investigation was concluded and conducted. Despite the findings and ongoing disruptions, the decision was made to keep the student in my class. I am sad and hurt over that. As being a product of the city of Mount Vernon, I felt like it was unjust and unfair. With that being said, this is for you, Dr. Strickland. When you came into the city of Mount Vernon, you had a vision. You spoke to us on Convocation Day, and you assured us that you was here to change the climate and the culture of Mount Vernon. You also said that you
gonna ask you to
were
wrap it up,
also, you
please.
also wanted to make sure that we were safe, and you was there to support your teachers. I don't feel that love or that safety, Dr. Strickland. I don't feel that. I'm asking that the board members look at this again. I would send out a copy of everything that I have from the day that I found out, which was the following day. I had no idea that I was even coming here. No idea at all. No idea. I've been in this district. I've never had a disciplinary write-up before. Never.
Ms. Haywood,
Thank you for your time
thank you.
and your patience.
Our next speaker, Talib Vasquez.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hello? Good evening. My name is Talib Vasquez. I had the honor of being one of Ms. Haywood's students about 16 years ago when she was my 5th grade teacher. To this day, I still keep in touch with her, and that's because she has always held a special place in my heart. Ms. Haywood was like a second mother to me. She stood out from every other teacher I had. I'll be honest, I wasn't the easiest kid at first. I got in trouble here and there, but Ms. Haywood was the one teacher I genuinely enjoyed being around and having as my teacher. She was firm when I needed it, just like my mom, but she was also incredibly loving, patient, and supportive. When I acted up, she didn't give up on me. She corrected me when necessary, but she also guided me, believed in me, and helped me grow. That's the trait I admire most about her, and it's why I've never forgotten about her. There's a phrase she used to always tell us, in life you may fall off the right path, but it's always important to find your way back. I carry that with me daily. When I served in the military and now at the Vernon hospital where I work at. I share the same message with my past sailors and employees I mentor. The person I am today is, in many ways, is because of Ms. Haywood. Having a teacher who cares for me the way she did truly made a difference in my life. And I know things could have been very different without her support and guidance. That's all I want to say, but Ms. Haywood, I do want to say thank you for everything you've given me in my life. So,
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez.
Ms. Meltier. Ms. Meltier?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mrs. Mulcair. I'm a homeowner for over 23 years in Mount Vernon. I've raised 5 daughters, 4 attended schools in Mount Vernon. 2 granddaughters went to Mount Vernon City School. Currently, I have a grandson who's in Mount Vernon City School. And I'm a homeowner and a business owner. I also worked in the Mount Vernon City School District. I started as a lunch monitor. Then I became a TA, a sub. And a lot of what I became, I give thanks to the wonderful lady, Mr. Sheena Haywood. She taught 2 of my daughters. And she was like the mother. Sometimes I wish I was strict the way she taught my kids. Her discipline in the classroom is done with love, patience, and I don't know what else to say that puts it in the perspective of this is what a teacher should be. However, I came here prepared to ask 2 questions. What is the policy and the code of conduct for students? And how does this district support teachers with students who have challenging behaviors? Those are my 2 questions. Because as I said, I raised 5 girls. 1 is a retired vet. The other 4 went through Mount Vernon schools. I worked in Mount Vernon schools. I got support from that lady, Miss Tashina Haywood Mensa. I mean, motherly support, and I'm older than she is. When I was attending college, she was there for me. We are from the same college, Mercy College, now Mercy University. And I want to tell this board, we have great teachers and we have excellent teachers. If I was to put teachers in a category, she goes in the top. Let me tell you something. There are teachers who are light. They are a light to children. They're the light in some kids' lives. Miss Haywood is a light in all her students' life. Every one of them. Even her colleagues that work with her. And I want to say, don't dim that light. If you can't stand it, put some shades on. Let me say, I have 25 more seconds. Let me put this here. Don't put a period where God has put a comma. That's the comma right there. Let's not put a period on it. Keep this lady where she needs to be. Our students need great teachers. This district had a history of having great teachers. Talibe is a result of Ms. Haywood. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Meltier. We are directing our district clerk to get in touch with you and forward you those policies that you requested. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dominique Patterson.
Good evening. I'm here today to address the issues regarding bullying between the middle school students and the elementary school students at Benjamin Turner. My daughter, who stands here beside me, is a 5th grader and recently on 2 separate occasions was bullied by an 8th grade student. While attending a parent-teacher conference last week, I asked to speak with the assistant principal to report the incident that just happened earlier that day, but was told that she could not be contacted, and instead I spoke with the guidance counselor. Although the guidance counselor did follow up with me the next day, informing me that she has spoken to the student and called the student's parent, to my knowledge, there was no other disciplinary action, even though the 8th grade student admitted to her actions. I was also informed by the guidance counselor that because this happened after school, there wasn't much that could be done. I want to let you know this happened on school grounds, regardless of it being 5 minutes after 3 p.m. I would also like to add that there was an incident with the student in my daughter's class at Benjamin Turner, Miss Hayward's class, where the student threw a glob of saturated paper onto my daughter's desk, ruining her work and soiling her hand. This was also not the first incident with this same student. These types of behaviors interfere with my child's ability to do her best and is disruptive to her learning environment, as well as others in that classroom. I am bringing all this before you today because when the schools merge, parents were assured that the school has a secure plan to prevent things like this. As a parent, I would like to actually see disciplinary actions taken when you have disruptive students within the classroom. While bullying is unacceptable on all levels, a 10-year-old being bullied by an almost 14-year-old is profoundly absurd, and a simple talking to does not seem like much of a concerned approach. Additionally, my daughter has informed me that this disruptive behavior is unsettling and it is affecting her. She loves Miss Hayward, and she loves the classroom. Not being able to pay attention and focus because of issues like this is very unacceptable. What I would like to see happen, I would like to know what is the school's plan when it comes to things like this regarding bullying of the older children towards the younger children, and as well as when we have issues within a classroom that do not seem to be addressed aside from the teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. I would like to direct you to the principal of the building to address your concerns if you have, and if you have done that and you feel as though it needs to be escalated, then I ask you to reach out to our superintendent. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rashida Mum.
That is protocol.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, I am also a parent of the BTA, of a student of the BTA, I'm sorry. We're from Mrs. Hayward's class. My main concern is my son being distracted by, malbehaviors and also adopting those behaviors from the classroom. Excuse me. I'd like to go to the Code of Conduct at subsection M, where it speaks on the minimum suspension period. It states that students who repeatedly are substantially disruptive of the educational process or substantially interfere with teachers' authority over the classroom, provided that suspending authority may reduce such period on a case-by-case basis to be consistent, with any other state and federal law. Now, refer to the conduct because I would like to know what's the next step that would be taking place. I've also been told by my son that these behaviors are causing him to be distracted, and while Miss Haywood was out, he was really out of it. He was not paying attention in class. He was just doing as he feel pleased. So I'd like to know what's the next step in regards to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Munn. We are not at liberty to discuss, due to privacy laws, any incidences or that have to do with a student, but we thank you for your comments.
Evelyn Torres is our next person.
Hi. Good, thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm here tonight with my kids, Isis and Juan Carlos Torres. They're both prior students of Benjamin Turner. Isis goes to UAlbany and Juan Carlos to Iona Prep. I had to pull him out because Mount Vernon wasn't doing what I needed it to do. I'm here tonight to speak in support of a woman who has given 23 years of her life to the Mount Vernon School District. Many of you know Ms. Haywood. She has educated generations of students, including both of my children. She taught my daughter Isis, who's now a proud sophomore at UAlbany, and my son Juan Carlos, who is thriving at Iona Prep. Their success reflects the foundation she helped build, that Ms. Haywood helped build. What makes Ms. Haywood exceptional is her consistency. She sets boundaries that young people need. She builds structure, she protects learning time, she brings out the best in students who come ready to focus and grow. She has always done her job with strength, clarity, and care. Right now, she is facing a classroom assignment that places an unreasonable strain on her as a professional and creates a tense setting that will not support the child's academic need. That is unfair and avoidable. Mount Vernon serves many children with complicated demands. Some struggle with behavior because they're carrying burdens far bigger than their age. These students require trained specialists and proper support. When students who need more focused help are placed in general classrooms without the right resources, everyone is impacted. It drains the teacher, it disrupts learning, it puts students who are ready to learn at a disadvantage, and it raises a simple, important question. Why leave a child in an environment that does not suit them? That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anyone. No child should ever be left behind, but teachers should be allowed to teach. They cannot be expected to serve as psychologists, correction officers, and crisis managers all at once. When they are stretched that thin, no one wins, not the teacher, not the student who needs specialized help, and not the rest of the class. This is why the district must do better. A child with significant behavioral needs should be placed in a setting where those needs can be addressed with intention and expertise. When that does not happen, it sends a message that teachers are not protected or valued, and that is unacceptable. Teachers are the front line. They are the face of the Mount Vernon School District. They deserve to feel safe. They deserve to feel supported. They deserve an environment where they can teach without being pushed past what any one person should be expected to manage. I stand here tonight because Ms. Haywood has served this community with dedication for over 2 decades. She has shaped lives, including the lives of my own children. Supporting her is not only the right thing to do, it sends a message to every educator in this district that their safety and humanity matter. And as I was writing this, I'm wondering, why would you place a kid in a classroom that's not safe?
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Torres.
Melvin Campbell.
Dr. Strickland, President Marable, President Mitchell, and members of the board, my colleagues, and to the community. I'm here with a dual purpose. First, to support my sister that everybody seems to be supporting. We work in the same building, and she is one of the tough love, and she's the person that cares about the kids, 100%. So can we give her a quick round of applause? Absolutely. Thank you. Another thing I'm struggling with this week was feeling appreciated or unappreciated. Let me just tell you a quick story. Over the past 4 years, we've had 3 superintendents, we had 3 heads of HR, we had 2 or 3 business managers, several changes at special ed, and 3 buildings that closed. I think that would describe some type of confusion at the top. But over those same past 4 years, the ironclad loyalists were the teachers, the TAs, and the security officers. But somehow, there's still a feeling of being unappreciated. Now, I know we can't get into finances because it's broad that we don't have any money, and I want to acknowledge that the state monitor is here, and I understand. But you can't cut and gut the district and affect the people who've been the most loyal people in the district. So when you've been waiting for years to talk about money or contracts or any of those things, and then it adds up to 0, even on a festive week, like this week going into Thanksgiving when you're supposed to be enjoying and thankful and having a good taste in your mouth, that leaves a very bad taste in our members' mouths when we've been waiting and been loyal and get those zeros. But I would like to challenge the board and Dr. Strickland, because I know it's a lot of nuance here, but even when we go into reorganization, we also need revitalization. We don't need to just cut, we need investment. We need a think tank that can come up with a way that you can get all of us some money. We know it's not a lot of money available, but something to make people feel appreciated. Something that makes people go through the struggles like Ms. Haywood is going through, and it's nothing new because teachers have been doing their job over and over and over again without any real appreciation. So I would ask that the board challenge themselves, come up with a think tank, a way that we can move forward and bring some investment. We got closed buildings, just a suggestion, I'm no financial analyst. Maybe we could refinance those buildings and lease them out to a competing entity and get some money back. I don't know. That's just my shot at it. There's a lot more PhDs up there. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. We are not at liberty to respond to those comments in particular, but we thank you for sharing.
That ends our public comments for this evening. Thank you.
At this time, we will hear the internal auditor's report.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. No one cares. That's settled. And no one cares about the audit report at all. But so no one cares about the audit report. People really. Wow. Do we have hard copies for the public? Are hard copies?
Hello, everyone. Good
We're
evening.
supposed
Thanks
to have
for
hard copies of
The agenda?
the agenda. And
having us.
this should be up. This
If you could just give us one moment, sir, before you begin.
Certainly.
We are trying to get some, there's some handouts that are being given to the board so that we can intelligently hear what it is that you have to say.
The last time I cleared out my wife's on vacation, I was karaoke at Doors songs. I don't know if I should start off with a joke or not. It's a good one. My friends were there. They all said everybody laughed.
You may proceed.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see the board. Thank you for having us this evening. First, let me wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, coming up with the holidays, and enjoy your time off with your families. My name is Darren Acabelli. I'm one of the partners at our firm, Naraki Smith. This is Michael Reinhardt, one of the supervisors. We're your district's internal auditors. I understand several weeks ago or a month ago or so, you finalized your external audit report. And part of the compliance function for the district with your internal audit function is to complete 2 audits per year at a minimum. And just so you know, this presentation is closing out the 24-25 year successfully. So we're going to present the risk assessment, which sets us up for the next year's internal audit plan, which will be discussed briefly. So within our risk assessment, which required each year, we go through a low, moderate, and high ranking system of our audit universe within a school district, which encompasses 92 business processes we look at. How do we assess these processes? Well, we conduct a lot of interviews. We request a lot of documentation, do follow-up work based on prior audit reports, third-party audit reports, and we compile this information to put together our risk assessment, which will also have recommendations for the district. So the results of those are on the back page, the second page of the executive summary, excuse me. And it shows the 92 risk rating processes. We broke down the results into a high, moderate, and low ranking, where we had 12 high risk areas, 51 moderate, and 29 low. Those are summarized in a large chart in the middle of the page for you, and I'll just bring you across one of the line items so you just get a feel for how it works. We'll just pick line item number 2, budget development. We had 1 moderate and 1 high for a total of 2 processes in that area. Overall, to the right side of the table in the blue, we listed our number of recommendations within this year's report, for which we had 7. I do want to just make one correction on this where I do see a typo that on my end. On the payroll area where we say C report, that actually refers to the cycle area that was done this year, which was in PPS. So we have a report for that has separate recommendations. The requirement at this point is for the district to put together a corrective action plan related to the 7 recommendations that are in the risk assessment report. And those corrective action plan and this report itself would be filed with SED. So that would be by April. So I just wanted to provide you with the compliance component of that. So the positive news is that 24-25 internal audit function is in compliance. The work's been performed and completed, and we're looking forward to the 25-26 year in carrying out the internal audit plan on behalf of the Board of Education. And I think we would be the plan as I know it at the moment, and we can obviously, it's fluid and it could be changed at any point in time at the board's direction. One component without question would be updating this risk assessment report. That'll be done in the springtime. But prior to that, we'll be working on one specific area that the board would like us to concentrate on. Okay. Of course, we're always available for items outside of the internal audit plan once it's finalized, to answer questions, provide training, and provide any type of guidance and consulting that the business office or anybody throughout the district from a risk management perspective might need. Okay. If there's any questions at this time, feel free to ask. We just want to give you a high-level summary of the work that was done last year.
Do we have any questions from trustees at this moment? You have a question?
Yeah.
Trustee Kelly?
Is it possible to discuss?
Can you turn it on? Oh. Can we get some volume on the microphones, please?
Is it possible to discuss the Medicaid situation in our district, or that is something we cannot discuss?
Do we have a specific question, or we can certainly?
The billing process for Medicaid. This has been an issue in our district, and I'm just wondering why it's still, is the district billing for Medicaid reimbursement? What is required for the district to get Medicaid reimbursement? Those type of questions.
Sure. Let us open up the results of that report. We did look at Medicaid this year for you as part of that internal audit plan. And let me just open up that component of the report.
I'm
so
referring
in
to
that-
page 15, just so. Page 15 is
Yep.
where I see, okay.
Well, I have it on page 6. We did have several recommendations related to Medicaid reimbursement.
So can you just do a small interpretation of this report where it says rating high 12,
Yeah.
right? Moderate 51, low 29. So high means,
High means it's a high-risk area.
right, so
Okay,
there are
so
12
that-
areas that are high risk.
That is correct.
So is it possible to go into some depth as to those areas?
Sure, that's in the risk assessment report itself.
Does that mean he can't
So
answer
since
my
we just
question?
received this, since we, I don't
Can
know
he?
what's going on with these
Can
microphones.
he answer my question before we go there?
He said that it's in,
I wanted him to explain.
okay, I'm sorry. So before we go to that,
Yep.
can you please, I guess we have not adequately addressed Trustee Kelly's question.
Okay, so within the PPS report, specifically to Medicaid, on pages 4, 5, and 6, we outline the processes and what we tested and our observations and recommendations. So we did have 3 recommendations related to Medicaid. And the billing function, in matching up the students that we tested, the services that were received exceeded the frequency outlined in the IEP. Okay, so that was from a small sample. We realized IEPs are complicated to manage. However, that was the results of our tests. So there's a disconnect in providing those services related to the IEP. Within our testing sample, we noted 11 instances where parent consent forms for Medicaid reimbursable services were signed after the student had already begun receiving services. Okay.
Can you repeat that? So they were in
Uh,
IP, but that was the Medicaid, I'm trying to understand what you said.
So-
Just could you
so-
repeat
Yeah.
that?
Go ahead.
A parental consent form is required to be signed by the parent prior to services being provided. So any of those services that were provided prior to the parent signing the parental consent form are no longer Medicaid eligible for reimbursement. The parental consent form is required to be signed prior to services so that all Medicaid, type things that are provided are able to be billed for. You're welcome.
So can you just elaborate on the recommendation that was made? Since we just received the report on yesterday. So we're a little kind of behind. We have not had an opportunity to truly vet the report. So we may ask you for a little more detail tonight. So please just be patient with us. So if you can give us an idea as to what the recommendation was in order to address Trustee Kelly's concern.
So the recommendation would be that the PPS department ensure that parental consent forms are in place and follow-up with parents is performed to ensure that the district can bill for all Medicaid-eligible services.
And at what time do you recommend that these parental request forms are completed and signed by the parent?
So we would recommend if the district is aware of what students would be going on to the following school year, that this is performed as early as possible, sometimes performed at the end of the prior school year, prior to even September start of school, so that the district has the best chance of obtaining these parental consent forms and being able to bill.
So you're saying that we can actually request parental consent June of 2020, so I'll just, June 2025 for ensuing September 2025.
Providing that there's an IEP in place at that point for the following year's services. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You're welcome.
Does that answer your question, Trustee Kelly? Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Trustee Peterson?
So I noticed that a lot of the recommendations and the sightings that you found were a lack of documentation. That is a repeated wording in this in your report. What type of recommendations would you have for the district where I'm sure this is not the first year that's been a recommendation, because I'm seeing it's going back quite some few years, that it keeps on coming up. What type of recommendations do you generally give school districts where this seems to be an issue repeatedly, a lack of documentation?
I mean, I think the first big step is ensuring that there are checklists in place for each student's file, and that there are dedicated, secretarial staff that are on top of this and monitoring students' IEPs and their files to ensure that the proper documentation is maintained.
As not just the Medicaid reimbursement, but also for like the extra classroom fund, that's an
Yes,
issue.
staff
things like that,
reimbursement.
staffing,
yeah.
overtime.
I mean,
okay.
there are plenty of students in the district that have IEPs, but they're not high-cost students. They may not be Medicaid eligible, but they still do fall under, PPS and are required to have documentation maintained.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, so I began by asking, so the high-risk areas, there were 12 of them. Would you be able to spend at least just give us a brief overview as to what those 12 are?
Sure. If you have the risk assessment report itself, I know you have a lot of documents tonight. There's a table that starts on page 5, which will provide the ratings for the 92 areas. I'm just going to try to bring your attention to one of the columns in the middle of the page. If you're on page 5, you'll see a column that says risk and then control underneath. There's 23, 24, which was the prior fiscal year ratings, and then there's 24, 25, which is what we're talking about tonight. If you go down that column, you're going to see the first H you see is budget monitoring and reporting. We continue to go down the column. Yeah, sure.
I just want to make sure that your trustees are following along.
Good.
So it's on board docs. If you can access board docs, you got. And Rita did send an email. If you want to, I can show you my copy. Okay. All right, go ahead. I just want, if you could just kind of walk us through. We do have some new board trustees, so I just want them to be
Yep.
able to know and understand how we actually can look at it.
I got
and
it, yeah.
How
So-
it's helpful. Thank you.
Sure. So I'll continue and interrupt if we need to. So we're going to go down the column that's control 24, 25. And the first one we come across that has an H is budget monitoring and reporting. That's in the budget development area. Then in the accounting reporting area, we come across the fund balance management that had a H for high.
As you go through each one, can you just give us the reason why you labeled them H's?
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure there's no surprises, but I just want us to be able to be very transparent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, budget monitoring. As we know, we've had turnover in the business office seat and staffing area, which makes it complex to manage the budget and monitor it. Of course, you have your state fiscal advisor here as well. So those are factors that we take into consideration for a high rating. Fund balance management. We have fiscal stress within the district. Managing your fund balance successfully will require continuity of the business office, correct reporting to you, accurate estimates to manage your fund balance. So that
And actually having one, right?
and actually having one. That's a good start, yes. So that would be why we had the high rating there. When we move over to the grants area, because that was the next.
And if you can just expound a little bit on this, because it appears that in every category, there's an H.
Okay, so that column is the inherent risk column. So let me start by saying the inherent risk column is school district industry ratings, our view. If there were no controls in place.
Trustees, if we can just, if we have, oh, you're trying to, no, oh, if you're trying to assist, yeah, we just, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Just, if we could just keep it down just a little bit.
The
Thank
difference between the inherent risk column and the control risk column is inherent risk is our benchmark. It's not specific to Mount Vernon. It's our industry view. Absent of controls, this certain business process would have what type of rating. We use that as a benchmark, and then we do our work to get a specific rating for your district. And that would be under the control risk column. Okay, so that's why you have H's in inherent risk, unrelated to Mount Vernon, but it's our benchmark. Okay. So in continuing through identifying the high-risk areas, we go to grants where we have high risk in all areas. Based on our interviews and document review, in general processing, we noted grants were not aligned to meet district strategies. We didn't get feedback that the treasurer, and there's been gaps of times for treasurers, was reviewing all the grants and documentation for accuracy. I know you have a new grant person in place who's learning the position. Oh. Okay, so this is news to me because of when we started the risk assessment, there was a new person in place there. So this has been a revolving door of grant management. So I was referring to somebody previously to clear that up. So at the time, the new budget analyst was still learning the process, and monitoring procedures for the grants were not in place. So that's hence the high ratings in that area at the time. Remember, this is a June 2025 report, and here we are, several months later. Okay. So the next area that we identify a high rating was in fixed assets. Fixed assets is a complicated area in a large district like this with a large footprint. At the time of this work, and you can see that it increased from the prior year, there was really no person taking ownership of fixed assets. There was no one available to answer questions for us about the procedures in fixed assets. No one was guiding us to who has control of what's going on within fixed assets. And quite honestly, there was not a lot we can do with that without information coming to us. And we had tried for 2 years now. Well, the first year we came in, it was the same concept, so we rated it a moderate, trying to get our arms around things. Year 2, we escalated it. Okay.
Hold on one second. We have a question, Trustee Scott.
Thank you. So, were you also responsible for 23, 24?
That was our report in 23, 24.
I'm new, so that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah, and that was our first year in the district.
And we have M's in that category, right?
In fixed assets.
Fixed assets. So then we had something in place that was good.
We had a plan in place that I was speaking to with your former business official who identified who was going to take charge of what. We had some discussions about that, and some documentation was provided to us, so I felt comfortable that we had a plan in place to assess, and then when we came back for follow-up work, it was not identifiable.
It all fell apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
By staffing or by a plan.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to know.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions before we move? Okay, you can continue.
Okay. Then we will move down to cybersecurity. Yeah, so the last line item under cybersecurity was your incident response plan and recovery. There's no incident response plan and recovery plan in place. That needs to be, developed, worked on, finalized, and approved. So that's a high rating from a cybersecurity process. We had one of our partners in our firm is a cybersecurity auditor, and he had communicated with your director of IT on these areas. We send out pretty extensive questionnaires. And the information we get from those questionnaires, we assess and do follow-up interviews and conversations about those.
So I have a question. In cybersecurity, you have it's item 16, correct? You have inherent is high, 23, 24 it's high, but in 24, 25 it's moderate. You have one high.
Yeah.
But in information systems, you have all highs and inherent. Can you help me understand the difference?
Yes, so remember, the inherent column is the industry benchmark, okay? So,
And so I guess my question is, if that's the industry standard, then why are we M?
well, your industry, it's not the standard, it's our assessment of risk absent controls, right? So if there's no controls in place, we're gonna give it a high. And when you have H on these reports, that's what we're talking about. That's what we identify as your high-risk areas. Okay.
Okay, please continue.
Okay. So I believe we captured all the H's.
Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions on the moderates? Do we have a follow-up question? Vice President Mitchell.
I guess I have a follow-up question. And so you guys did this report last year. All the faces have changed, right? Your recommendations speak to every H that we see here. You have recommendations that speak to every H that we see in inherent and in the control.
We have recommendations in the prior 2 years that speak to H's and moderates.
So is it safe to say that your recommendations, based on where we stand with those H's and M's, we never paid attention to any of those recommendations in layman terms? Obviously, we never implemented any of those recommendations for the last 2 years you've been here.
Where there's an H?
Yeah.
Or an M. We did a deep payroll audit the prior year, and there were a host of recommendations. Some were implemented, some were not. I don't know what the number was, maybe 15 recommendations in payroll. With the type of turnover you've had, with the leadership turnover and staffing turnover and training issues, to address 15 recommendations is a large task, but those should be, in the long run, addressed.
I have a question.
Trustee Kelly.
So you're talking about the high-risk areas, and you're saying controls are missing. So, in fact, if the heads changed or the seats changed, where are the procedures that were left behind for the people to fill those positions? Right? I'm asking, did you see any evidence of procedures or protocols put in place?
That's
Your recommendations from last year, that's my question.
That's a great question. And no, those documented procedures are a task for your team to put together. And when people are rotating in and out of positions, it nearly is impossible to happen, right? But if someone takes the time and energy, because you come to work and you have to get your work done for the day. But to put together a procedure manual and processes is a task. One thing I will say is our reports, in the past 2 years since we've been here, the payroll report and this PPS report, the back end of those reports are extremely detailed starting point for those procedure manuals to be in place. So now you've got a building block for payroll, and you have a building block for PPS.
Thank you.
Okay. Have we, are we satisfied with our questions? Okay, and I know that we agreed to not vote on this report tonight. I have a question based on the discussion and the presentation. I wanted to know if you are comfortable on voting on it tonight, or you still want to hold it? Okay, all right, thank you. Just asking, so if we wanted to bring it back, thank you. Okay, no more questions, then thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for having us, and have a great Thanksgiving, and feel free to reach out with any questions, or funnel them to us any way you'd like. Okay, thank you.
We will now hear the treasurer's report from Dr. Joseph.
Good evening, President Dr. Maribel, Dr. Strickland, Vice President, State Monitor Dr. Wilkins, and the Board of Members of the Mount Vernon City School District and the community. Tonight is an opportunity to present the month of October, September and October's Treasurer's Report. That we don't have a treasurer with us, so basically I'm taking the role of the treasurer for tonight. And this treasure was made possible with the help of the acting, quote-unquote, deputy treasurer, Ms. Kenlaw, the consultant, Ms. Skiff, with Management Advisory Group, and also some of the stuff that I will, some oversight that I provided. Tonight reports provides a clear, accountable snapshot of the district's fiscal position, reflecting our cash flow, revenue receipts, expenditure, fund balances, and reconciliation for the period ending September, as well as October. The purpose is simple but essential to ensure full transparency, disciplined stewardship of public funds, and continuous alignment between our financial reality and our instructional mission. As we move towards building a more coherent, data-driven financial culture, this report serves as an anchor that it shows where we stand, how resources are moving, and whether our fiscal operations are matching the commitments and priorities of the board as well as the administration. So what we're going to show here is the Treasurer's Report for the September and October, as well as a preliminary budget expense variance. In other words, basically how we are doing insofar as rebuilding our fund balances.
I'm sorry, Dr. Kendall. I just have a question.
Trustee Kelly?
Thank you. My concern is that we got into a lot of this.
Is that your microphone, or is it, it's not working on? I know, but they're just not.
This is hard.
We can get some I know you're trying.
My question is, and this is maybe just a pause in this presentation, the reason we've had high fiscal risk is because we haven't had a treasurer, the separation of duties in the superintendent's office. We had a business superintendent who also acted as a treasurer. Are we actively looking for somebody to be hired as a treasurer?
100% yes.
Okay. Is there a timeline?
We have a 10-day posting requirement. We actually already put it out, and then we were told by civil service that we have to follow a specific format. So we then revised it, put it back out, and soon as that's closed, we'll begin with the interviews.
Okay, that was my concern, is that the separation of duties. I understand you're doing the presentation, but I've sat on the board for 4 years, and every time a treasurer comes, it's a fruition or apparition, I don't know, they disappear. And that has been a lot of the problems in our business office. I just wanted to point it out so that you understand my hesitation about you doing the presentation for the treasurer. That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Kelly, you're most welcome, and thank you for the question. We're just not looking for a treasurer. We're looking for somebody who's competent, somebody who has skills and expertise in the area of governmental accounting, specifically that of school district. We're looking for somebody who is conscientious and aware of the district needs, budgetary needs, and the fiscal needs of the district. More to that, we're looking for somebody who is confident in the operations of that office, because that office is that of social significance, such that the different grants that are out there, the federal grants and some lunch grants, such that we can tap into those resources in order to improve the fiscal state of the district. And the last C is coherence. And coherence, brings everything back together for understanding, for the mission for which we are here to educate the 7,000 students that we have here. So we're just not looking for a body, we're looking for basically competence, confidence, conscientiousness, as well as a coherence, given the purpose for the district. So with that, next slide, please. So the mission for us in the business office is that of fiscal focus for functional operating fund balance. And so we are in the process of that. And the vision is fiscal integrity, operational excellence, and generative prosperity. And with that, how does that happen? The focus happens through payroll, accounts payable, zero-based budgeting, as well as leadership empowerment. Next slide, please. Actually, go back and click on the highlighted. Okay. So we had a little challenges with the technology. It should be in that, it is in that thumb drive. Okay. Can we maximize that, please? Blow it up, please. Blow it up, blow it up. Okay. So this is hard to see. Let's see. A little bit more, move it to the right. Actually, I could use my laptop. So you can have that. So basically, for the month beginning September, that we started the month with $45.8 million in the general fund. We have approximately $18,000 in the school lunch fund. And payroll, this money comes in and out. So the money should not just disappear, but this is when we process payroll, that money sits there until the different people, cash their check. So net account payroll, approximately $5,000. Special aid grants, $598,000. And in the capital fund, which is a building fund, you got approximately $3.1 million. And in the special revenue fund, which is the federal fund, we have approximately $117,000. So if you go back to, move it to the left, please. Move it to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, all the way to the left. Okay. So over here, what you have on the left here is those are different receipts that we have. Interest receipts, what comprise the that $45.9 million. That's the beginning of the month. We took in a receipt of $120,000 in interest, property taxes, $2 million, payment in lieu of taxes, 800,000 or so, sales tax, 309,000, and then state aid, because the month of September, so it's low, about 55,000, and you have miscellaneous revenue at 22,000, and state and federal aid. This is approximate $11 million, and retires health insurance, $290,522, and then health services, approximately 27,000, and tuition charges, 25,000. So the total receipts, approximate $14.5 million. If you could move that up, move it down, please. So warrants and wire payments, these are different payments that we disperse. It's either out of the payroll funds or out of the accounts payable. So we have $1.1 million, and debt services for the buildings, money that we borrowed to have funded to fix the buildings, $2.5 million. And payroll expenses, $9.7 million. And other transfers, other transfers approximate 10.9 or $11 million. So altogether that for the month of September, we had expenses approximate $36 million or $35.9 million. Bring it up, bring it down. So here are the different accounts that we have. We demonstrate.
Dr. Joseph,
Yes.
if I may.
Sure.
Do we have, you're going just a little fast. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure, do we have any questions so far? Okay. I do have one question. The
Sure.
transfers to other funds and accounts, I know that we approve those transfers, right? Is it possible to attach a summary of what those transfers were for the month, just as a reminder, so that we are clear that what we know we approved, that they are reflected in that number, because that is a very large number?
So exactly, there's a different, what the Board of Education approves is a transfer from one code to the next code. This right here, this is a transfer of funds. Okay? This is the transfers of funds. So it's a little different, but we definitely can provide that.
So can you help me understand the
For
difference?
sure. Sure. So in the, later on, I'm going to get to it. So we have, your budget comprises it's called appropriation, right? This is what the voter. So once we put a budget together, for the superintendent based on his vision, and the superintendent in turn present that budget to the board. The board will adopt a budget, and based on the expenditures within the different lines, within the different codes, right? So that's what the voters voted upon and approved. So from that, you have an appropriations. So from the appropriations, you have different codes, right? So when we come to you, to the board, and ask for a transfer to be done, we're asking for a transfer to be done between codes, from one code to another code, for budget modification.
So it's just one pie? Is it
I'm
just-
clear on that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm an accounting major. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So I'm clear on that. My question again is these transfers to other funds and accounts, if there can be a summary outlining what that $10.9 million is.
Sure.
Okay. And number two, since you did mention it, appropriations. Do we have an appropriations report?
We do.
Okay. And will we be receiving one of those?
Yes, we're going to present on that tonight.
Okay.
Because we're going to need to make a lot of budgetary transfers. because your budget is out of balance. So if you could move that up, please. So basically, if you could bring it down, shrink it down. So for the month of September, so can you shrink it down? Okay. So we had a little challenges with the technology here, but it's hard to see. Hold on, please. So just go back just to summarize it. So we started bring it back up. We started bring it back up 45 million. Basically 45 million, we begin the month of September. Basically we had expenditures between accounts payable and payroll totaling $35.9 million, okay, for the month of September. If you would please go to the next one, next slide. Yes. Or any questions on this? I know there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of information here. So we can.
Dr. Ken, do we have copies of this?
Excuse me?
Were we providing?
Yes,
copies?
we can get copy, of course, yes.
I can't get into board docs.
Okay. So let me see.
Thank you. Technology challenged.
Hold on.
I know, right? I know, right?
Okay, no, I got it. So I'm going to bring it up here. Thank you. Let's see. It's my PowerPoint. Okay. So, okay.
Come on, we gotta move on. This is important. This is the part you should, this is when they complain about. Because this is on a monthly.
Okay. So for the month of October, that,
See, look at you.
okay, so for the month of October, we begin the month with $35.9 million. That's what we ended up with the month of September. So we took in interest, $88,000, property taxes, approximately 1.2 million, sales tax, 231,000, state aid due to other funds. So 244,000 to state aid due to other funds. So at times, what happens, the federal fund would lend money to the general fund. So in this case, that gets recorded over here. You have miscellaneous revenue of 1,000, state aid and federal aid 579,000, and you got retirees health insurance, that's the contribution, 287,000, and then you got tuition charges and services for approximately 400,000. So total receipts, $3 million, and cash disbursement, which is payroll that you're looking at, $10 million, and then transfer to fund other accounts, $8.4 million. So we certainly will get detail as to those transfers. So we ended the month with a cash balance of $20 million, approximately $20,500,000. So basically the books, what you saw up there, that's the books of the districts. Basically, it's in balance with that of the bank statements, what we have, the money that we have in the bank. So any questions on this? Any questions? Okay. So
Do we have,
On the
trustee,
outstanding checks.
Trustee Kelly?
Month-to-month outstanding checks. So is that an addition or a separate?
the
Is that addition outstanding? So it's like $1 million in outstanding checks,
They haven't
October?
Sure. So at times, between when they disperse the checks for payment to a vendor, okay, and by the time the vendor receives the payment and cash the check, and we get the bank statement, those checks are outstanding. So those vendors have not cashed the checks. So therefore, it shows as outstanding checks.
Vice President Mitchell.
So of those outstanding checks, in that 1.5 number, does this report demonstrate that those outstanding checks, what time frame are we talking of those checks from? This is not just 6 months. How far back do these outstanding checks truly go?
Not too far, especially for the month of October.
Okay, when you say not too far, Christmas is not too far either,
But, so especially for the month of October, because when you go back and look at September, you will see that the outstanding, let's go back.
yeah.
772 was the outstanding.
Right. That's September. And so,
And the reason for the question is just that we've heard about outstanding check balances for a long time, both from the audit reports and things like that. So trying to get a gauge on how are we trending with that outstanding check balance going back how far, because it demonstrates also how much we're not reconciling.
actually, we are reconciling.
Okay. No, up until now. You're here now, so now it's real reconciling. Understood. So I just wanted to understand, just so that I can have a clear picture, how much of that outstanding check balance is really like within, say, 90 days. Are we saying like 90 days? Would that be accurate?
We'll look into that, to be specific.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to make sure we're done. Okay. Trustee Scott.
The question I had, I'm looking at in the cash receipts area around the pilots.
Okay.
And I noticed in, I think it's September report, we collected, almost 800,000? That's correct, right?
Let me see. Let me
Based
go
on
back.
what this number is, right?
800,000.
Right? Close to 801,000.
Yeah,
Right? But then in October's report, nothing.
Do it twice a year.
It's twice a year. Okay, so that answers my question.
And it's going to fluctuate. So
Got you.
payment in lieu of taxes, it is that instead of, you have businesses, right? You have like 10 big businesses within the district, within the catchment of districts, that what they do, instead of paying taxes, I mean, they still pay taxes.
Yeah.
They make payment in lieu of taxes as they negotiated, different programs so that they can take advantage of those tax elements.
Understood. Just wanted to know that.
So I do have a question of going back to these outstanding checks. So was there a timing difference with this payroll? The reason why the outstanding checks number is so high?
It's probable. It's probable. Was that? Oh, yes. So what we're looking to do right now, okay? So right now, as it stands, payroll and accounts payable, they process payment at the same time, the same week, or the same pay period. So the measures that we're putting in place, what it does, it creates a cash flow problem for the district, okay? So in essence, starting December 1st, yes, we are shifting it such that, right, okay. Sure.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? I see Vice President Mitchell.
So on both months, we see property taxes collected. How much so does that represent money that we are also still receiving from the city from what they owe us from the prior years?
Yes.
So do we have, can't speak for the whole board, but I would like to see the split of how much of that is pre-owed by the city versus we received payments that were live from current year. So do you understand what I'm saying? I just want to see how much of that number was city paid us because they owed us from prior years, because you know that we're dealing with years and years of back
Sure.
payments. I'd like a split, an individual split that kind of shows, I mean, me personally, a split that shows how much the city has paid monthly versus what the difference. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because this doesn't necessarily give us the picture that says, okay, so the city is still paying, the city's not still paying. Because you already know the history.
Yes. As of October, they made the last payment from the contract. As of October.
And from the
now,
MOU.
this is, I want to say 2021.
1920.
1920.
So now we're currently in negotiations with solidifying the next year for 2021. We've already had meetings. We've already had meetings. I cannot speak to the specific amount, but I definitely will get that for you. But we've had meetings with legal counsel and the comptroller to reestablish the next set of benchmarks, the next cycle. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Strickland.
Yeah, I believe we reported, I think Dr. Strickland reported out on that in September.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions of Dr. Joseph? Dr. Joseph, have you completed your report, or are you still?
Oh, no, I'm going to show you the board's appropriation status report as it stands right now.
Do we have a copy of it?
You do not. You do not. I'm going to we'll make sure that we send it to the board. So I ran this today.
Only because it's going to be hard for us to follow without a document. Trustee McDonough?
Yeah, I would ask that we postpone that portion of this to another time so we can have a chance to review it.
I would.
For sure.
Can I just get a consensus from the board? Would you agree? Yes. Okay, so we will table that until?
Yes.
Until you are ready to send it to us,
We'll
and
send
we
it
have
to-
an opportunity to review it.
No, for sure. You'll get it tomorrow.
Great.
Dr.
Then
Strickland.
hopefully we'll be able to review it December 2nd.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And I want to give a little good news, okay? The Dr. Strickland and the monitor tasked me to look into where we are insofar as the expenditures. Mr. Asker, can you bring up that? So the estimated expense analysis. So what we did, we did an analysis very briefly. We did an analysis from July 1st through next one, right here.
What's the name of the document?
Okay, this is it. Okay, so I think we're done.
We have a.
This is solid. This is solid.
Is it?
Yep. Okay, very briefly, okay? So what you have here, we went back 5 years to look at the payroll expenditures variances. We did an analysis on that. We went back from the year 2021 through now this year, 2025, 26. We look at, for example, that between July 1st and November 15th, okay, between July 1st and November 15th. Why between July 1st and November 15th? Because there are a lot of events that occur, social significant events that occurred this year by the closing of the school, okay? And then certain, Dr. Strickland stopped, put measures in place such that people have to get approval prior to overtime. Overtime was out of control. So what we did, we look at payroll specifically for 2021, that between 2021 and 2022, there was an increase of $1.7 million. okay, on column D, which represent a 6% increase. Between 2021 and 2022, you had a decrease of $872,000 or so. And between 2023 and 24, an increase of 105,000. And between 2024-25, 129,000. And from that same period for the past year, from July 1st to November 15th, that you have a decrease of $3 million, okay? So this represents a change of 10% within just payroll expenditure, okay? And it's a function of 1% of the overall budget, right? So you take column F, F8, you divide that by the column B8, it gives you that change. You have a question?
Hold on one second. So I think we have several questions, and since I'm gonna, Trustee Brown, did I see your hand raised? Okay. Trustee Vice President Mitchell. I have a question. I do have a question. So you indicated that we're looking at payroll, right? But this isn't necessarily reflective of purely overtime because we had a reduction in force. So wouldn't that also account for the decrease in payroll?
Of course, 100% yes.
Okay, so
we're doing analysis on payroll for that period of time.
okay, so I guess the question that I would ask would be we able to disaggregate general operating salary payroll versus overtime. I think that might give us a better picture, maybe, of what we're looking at. So, if I may, if we don't have a copy of this, can we table this so that we can actually wrap our heads around what this data is showing us, and we can ask the questions that may make sense or relevant? Yes, I'm asking for a consensus to table. I thought I heard a resounding yes. Okay, thank you. So anything else for us, Dr. Joseph?
No.
Okay, that concludes your report?
Yes.
We thank you so very, very much. And Dr. Strickland, would you like to add anything to?
Yes, you're welcome.
We have 4.4, accept the treasurer's report. I have a motion to table. Okay, sorry. I'm afraid I might not be able to get back in here.
No. Can I have a motion, please, to table the treasurer's reports for September and October 2025?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries to table 4.3.
All right, I'm just trying to get back on board, docs. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna need some assistance again. It's not working.
Where is?
So we're gonna move to superintendent's report. Dr. Strickland. Hold on a minute. Let me see.
Every week, we open Mount Vernon's Jewel Box to see the wonderful work happening across our district and community. Take a look at this past week's Jewel Box, which you can also view on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. One of my big-time visions is that we are always honoring our students, our staff members, and really focusing our energy on those folks that make a difference in our school district. I wanted to look at folks that are excellent with community service, they have great sportsmanship, they are just upstanding scholars in their school. So that is why you are all here today. You already know. You pulling out the presentation? All right, great evening, President Marble, Vice President Mitchell, fellow board trustees, students, families, staff, and the greater Mount Vernon community. This is the superintendent's report for the month of November. Next slide. Last week, Dr. Kimberly Young Wilkins, State Monitor for the Mount Vernon City School District, gave a presentation about her initial academic and financial improvement plan. Her presentation highlighted inconsistencies in various areas, as well as next steps to correct discrepancies. The presentation has been viewed over 5,200 times online and had over 2,900 within a day of the hearing. Thank you for your participation and feedback. The monitor will update the drafted plan by December 1st for the New York State Commissioner of Education to review.
Can you repeat those numbers again, please, Dr. Strickland?
Yes, the presentation has been viewed over 5,200 times online and had over 2,900 within a day of the hearing. Thank you for your participation and feedback. The monitor will update or has updated the draft by December 1st, and it will be submitted by December 1st. To the state commissioner, if you have any comments or concerns to the state monitor, please contact K. Young Wilkins at mtvernoncsd.org. Next slide. As the fall sports season comes to a close, I would like to take a moment to highlight all the wonderful accomplishments our scholars achieved this season. On November 13th, the district held a ceremony honoring 28 student athletes for their outstanding sportsmanship and academic success during the season. Our Pioneer League also kicked off on November 13th, where our Knights played against the Mamaroneck Tigers in a thrilling soccer match. A job well done, athletes. Congratulations to the Mount Vernon varsity girls soccer team on a historic 2025 season. For the first time in 19 years, Mount Vernon qualified for the AAA Sectionals Tournament, showcasing the incredible growth and dedication of the team. Mount Vernon Knights boys basketball will host their 30th annual basketball brunch at 10 a.m. on Sunday, November 30th at the Bayou in Mount Vernon. Tickets are $55 per person and will be available at the door. But can we give our girls soccer team a round of applause? Another round of applause to our Denzel Washington School of the Arts students for their outstanding performance of Buena Vista Social Club earlier this month. Visit our YouTube channel to check out the full performance. Give them a round of applause. Junior Achievement of New York partners with all three Mount Vernon high schools to promote financial literacy in the district. In turn, the high school students gain valuable leadership and public speaking skills. Most recently, students at Nelson Mandela received valuable lessons taught by their older peers from STEAM Academy. I look forward to seeing what other lessons our scholars will teach our little ones. On my 125th day in the office, I gave a State of the District address to faculty and staff, providing information such as new administrative personnel, department updates, encouragement to meet the district's student achievement goals, and legislative priorities. I also explained how this district will implement standard operating procedures to work in an effective and efficient manner. Thank you to all those who attended. Teachers across the Mount Vernon City School District participated in a professional development session on November 4th 2025. During this, they learned new instructional techniques through interactive sessions. Thank you to all those who participated and especially to those who helped coordinate this professional development day. The second Superintendent's Advisory Council meeting was focused on students providing feedback to me about their schools and how they can be improved. I plan to use this information from the students in my strategic plan, in our strategic plan. Students also completed a survey about food services in the district. I appreciate each student's inputs and concerns. And just an FYI, our students, they did a SWOT analysis of the entire district and their schools, and they came up with some fantastic thoughts about where we need to go as we continue to move forward. And I thought it was really, really good. Both groups. Next. Report cards can now be accessed through Infinite Campus, as well as progress reports, student schedules, attendance records, and much more. Infinite Campus can be accessed through the district website under Quick Links. All 8th grade students will take the Mount Vernon STEAM Academy pre-ACT entrance exam from 9 a.m. to 12 noon on Wednesday, December 10, 2025. For resources and more information, please visit the district's website, and this will be made available to every student at their school, so they do not go to the building, they stay in their school, and that's where they will take the examination. Earlier this month, our parent liaisons put together our annual Fall Festival. This event provides families with resources throughout our city, such as our Parent Resource Center. This year, the Parent Resource Center moved from the STEAM Academy to Graham School. The Parent Resource Center works hand in hand with parents, schools, and community partners to build strong relationships that support the academic and personal success of every child. I hope our families take advantage of the Parent Resource Center and the numerous workshops they host. I will say the parent liaisons orchestrated a fantastic event. There was trains, bounce houses, cotton candy, popcorn, my favorite, and they just did a fantastic job. So I just want to take the time to acknowledge their hard work and dedication to our district. Schools throughout the district hosted family math and literacy nights, sparking creativity through hands-on learning and family engagement. Most recently, Lincoln School hosted a family math night, and Pennington hosted a family literacy night. Upcoming events will be Family Math Night at Edward Williams on January 22nd from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and at Grimes School on Wednesday, January 28th from 5:30 to 7:30. And I did have the opportunity to go to the Nelson Mandela Jose Zollicoffer math night where families were participating in activities, and it was another great turnout. And that was in conjunction with Report Card Night. Now, before we continue, I want to take a moment to address the devastating fire that occurred early Sunday morning in our community. In the next slide, you will see how our Mount Vernon family has rallied together to support the survivors of this tragedy. Our response reflects who we are as a district, a community that shines brightest when our neighbors need us the most. What you're about to see demonstrates the heart and compassion that defines Mount Vernon. Many of you are aware of the tragic fire that occurred over the weekend, displacing several of our students and their families. The district is supporting those affected by the fire in several ways. We have opened up Mount Vernon Honor Academy as a shelter for those displaced, and we're working hard to make our families as comfortable as possible. We are preparing to house people at the building through the next couple of weeks, if necessary. Yesterday, the city held a press conference discussing fire disaster relief and how the community can help. If you are interested in donating to those affected, please send all clothing donations to the Dole Center and all perishables and non-perishables and toiletries to the Mount Vernon Honor Academy. There is an urgent need for men's clothing, new undergarments, diapers, pull-ups, feminine hygiene products, baby food, formula, general toiletries like toothbrushes, toothpaste, shower items, bath towels, and pet items. Thank you to everyone who has supported our community during this difficult time. Your dedication and unwavering commitment does not go unnoticed. We are definitely Mount Vernon strong. And this concludes my November 2025 report.
Thank you, Dr. Strickland.
President Marable, I have
Thank
a
you,
question
Dr.
about,
Strickland. Trustee Kelly?
was there a vote by the board to use the building?
No, there was not. There was a plea that
No,
was.
no, that's not my question.
Okay.
Did the
I said
board-
no. I answered your
Okay,
question,
Board
no.
of Trustees. What is the city donating to the cost of this?
So because there was an important crisis, I
understand
No,
that.
just hold on. I made an important decision to open up the building to families that were displaced.
And again.
Oh, hold on. Let him finish. Let him
But my
finish.
question
let him
is
finish.
what the city.
Let.
These, wait,
No,
we're
no,
in
no,
the
no, no, no.
education-
We're gonna
we're in
gonna
the
be
business
respectful though.
of
Trustee Kelly. Trustee Kelly. Wait a minute,
The
please.
business of education.
Point
and
of
my
order,
concerns,
Trustee Kelly. I have
the
not
division between the
acknowledged you as
education
the chair,
the
and I'm
city
going
of
to
Mount
allow
Vernon.
Dr. Strickland to complete his statement before I recognize you again to follow up. If he has not answered your question completely, then we will revisit it. But let him please finish before we speak, please.
Because the need was an urgent matter, I made the superintendent's decision to open our facility to house those families expeditiously. I was then going to, first, I cleaned up, made sure the building got cleaned up. I did not have time to ask those questions. It was not our place, it was not the right time. It's about humanity and about the fact that those folks were unhoused. And going over to the Dole Center, I wouldn't even dare bring up, what are you paying us and things of that nature. However, in the next few weeks, depending on how long they're gonna be housed, those conversations may need to be opened up, as I spoke to board leadership about that yesterday, as they told me we need to possibly talk about what the next steps are. So until I meet with the mayor, which I will do and I have done on a monthly basis, that has not been broached as of yet. My main concern was making sure our families and our children had a warm place to rest their heads.
So I find it commendable.
Trustee Kelly?
I find it commendable that you stepped into the void. But I'm saying, as a decision-making body, why weren't the trustees included in this decision? And why wasn't it I understand the need, but we also have a city government that has resources, and those people live in Mount Vernon. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't or couldn't have done it. What I'm saying is, where is our local government stepping up to do the same thing, the same initiative that you did? They have the Armory, they have the Dole Center. Where is the sharing of the cost? And I know you say don't ask it, but when we're under fiscal distress, I'm concerned because we're barely providing the services in the classroom. Again, commendable effort, but you're saying that we didn't even have any discussions. That's my concern.
Trustee Kelly, may I respond to you? Number one, it is the arm of the district superintendent's office to make those decisions. If it is a community-based event, right, which this obviously was for our community, it's nonprofit, then he has the right and the authority to make those decisions without consulting the board. So we have to, number one, remember what our role and our responsibility is. That's number one. Number two, we did talk to Dr. Strickland on yesterday to ask Dr. Strickland, and we have not sent this communication to the board yet because Dr. Strickland is still navigating this process in terms of asking the municipality what it is that we can do and what it is, how are we going to share some of this responsibility since we did have to open up one of our buildings. However, Red Cross is in the building. We also have emergency management services all of the staff everyone that's in the building is pretty much from municipality or county or state or emergency services aid. So there's the money that we may be spending would be for custodial services, for security services. So we are ascertaining what those amounts are, and Dr. Strickland will be talking to city government to determine what portion they will contribute. We have to also recognize and understand that we had some of our students who were impacted by this devastating fire. We had about 20, I believe it was 20 to 25 families that were directly impacted that went to Lincoln schools. Some went to Trapegan, some went to Mandela. And because those students and those families were impacted, Dr. Strickland felt, and I wholeheartedly agree with him, and I know that we all do in terms of our humanitarian efforts, and I also understand your question being a fiscally distressed district. Those answers and those questions are being asked, and we will bring that information to the board as soon as it is available.
So we can have a report. It's not about
Yes.
housing them. It's about shared responsibility.
Understood.
The city being the lead agency when certain things are done, especially since these families live in Mount Vernon, they pay rent.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood and agreed.
Okay. It's not coming against, it's just, why wasn't the Board of Trustees keyed in the initial decision? Yes, he has a right. It would have been nice to know, like we are advised.
Well, he
of-
did notify. We did notify the board that we opened it. We sent a.
I'm glad you were. I was not.
No,
So,
yes, you were. I
was-
sent
I
a
was
communication
not. I
to
have
your
my
cell phone. I
have
can
my
show you where
phone,
I
and
sent
I don't
it.
have it. So I'm telling
Okay,
you,
well,
why
I can
would I
show it to
raise
you.
it? I wouldn't
So I
deny you
appreciate-
telling me. I'm telling you I was not included. So
I appreciate the
you
fact
had
that you were
other-
not, and I apologize
there
if
were
you
9
were
people
not.
on this board, and it's fine that everybody shakes their head, but I was not informed. And I'm telling you that I would have liked to know that there was a consensus on the board that this was done.
President Marable, you did contact all of us.
Well, what I'm going to say is, we cannot vote via text. We would have to wait until this very meeting, number one, in order to address it. And as you know, there is an item on this agenda, 7.1, for new business, right? So we don't have a list of what those things are for new business. So someone may bring a resolution to ask that we support and ratify the decision of the superintendent. There is a Robert's Rules of Order process for it. I do apologize. So after this meeting, I will just ask if we can update your number, because I did send a text to all the trustees, and including the board clerk. So if you did not receive it, I do apologize, and I will just make sure that I have the appropriate number for you in terms of communication. Any other questions or comments? Vice President Mitchell.
So, yeah, I don't know what happened just now. Okay. So, thank you, Dr. Strickland, because it wasn't even long after we learned of the devastation of this fire and the babies. His kids didn't go to school the next day, right? So my superintendent made a decision to open up one of the buildings that shouldn't have been, never mind. He opened up one of the only buildings to accommodate families. And he spoke directly to board leadership, and we communicated. I have my text, so I know I got my text. But I know I walked over to that building today with several of my trustees, including my president and my superintendent, and I saw what the impact was of our superintendent making a decision alongside the city. And let's make sure I say that again, alongside the city. The Dole Center's open. You got the communications. We all know that this is the first time. We haven't seen joint work with the school district and the city in the better part of a decade, and it's been intentional. And I am, for one, thankful that we can have just one more notch that says we're moving in a different direction, that does not accept chaos and misinformation as facts. And we're actually looking to work together as a district and city for the bettering of these babies and the families. I did not get burned out of my home, but I'll be damned if I sit here and thrash my superintendent for making a decision to give these babies a warm place to sleep these last 3 nights, a place to wash up, and a place that they could be safe. So while I have no disrespect for anyone who feels that there should have been a decision made, I've sat on this board for 6 years, I sat outside of this board for 1, and I've seen decisions made year after year after year that did not involve trustees, did not involve babies, did not involve staff. So if we want to wait till now, I don't know what to say about that, but thank you, Dr. Strickland, for making the decision to open this building for these babies and these parents who just lost everything. And we're talking about people who were in that building for over 30 years and were on fixed income. Some of the same people who are paying, and their property taxes come out of that rent. There's a line item in the rent that pays property taxes and school taxes. They may not realize it, but they could. The least we were able to do, thank you, Dr. Strickland, and to every cleaner, custodian, staff member, and every member of the public who pitched in, the village came together and they did something so good for these children. So I'm going to be a voice of saying thank you. I'll bring positive energy.
Thank you. Any other, Trustee White? Trustee White?
Some of our own staff members were,
We need you to talk into the microphone.
I'm just talking. Some of our own staff members that we have to remember are also were part of that fire that's been there for a while. And we also have to think about the firefighters that were injured. I know one personally, he just came off a ventilator, and they're still holding them in ICU because of the lung situation. So, and there are children in there also. So we have to think of all this stuff that is going on, that we have to be thankful that my house didn't burn down, but we have to help everyone. But I have to leave.
Trustee Peterson and then Trustee Middleton.
I just wanted to, as a, not even as a trustee, but as a resident of this city, I want to thank you, Dr. Strickland, as someone who has been outside Sunday morning in their pajamas helping these families to make sure that they have some type of normalcy during the worst, probably the worst time of their life. I am grateful and I'm thankful that you did open up that school, because until you stand there and you have stood there with those families and to see the devastation, the last thing on my mind, even there as a trustee, was thinking about, did we vote on it? The fact that you took the initiative, that you're not even from this city, you're not even from here, but you stepped up and you made an independent executive decision, as you should, as the school superintendent, this district superintendent, to make sure we open that building to those families. And I've been in that building 6 a.m. this morning, driving kids to school, feeding families, helping out. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate every single, the workers, the cleaners, it is the way the city has come together since Sunday morning has been insane. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the families are so grateful and so thankful. And this morning, seeing those kids in a temporary shelter, and at 8 o'clock, they were dressed, ready to go to school this morning. I mean, they were ready. High schoolers ready. That speaks to the integrity, to your integrity as a superintendent. That speaks to what you're here for, and I commend you and I thank you.
I just want to say that I've been going through a lot this past week, and that was one of the last things that was added to our list, because I had family on both sides, Park Avenue and Cottage Avenue, where it did happen. They weren't even able to go to a funeral that we had for my aunt yesterday because they didn't have clothes, they didn't have anything, and they came to my mom's at 4 o'clock in the morning. We didn't know what was going on. And basically, they had ended up in a hotel after everything was said and done. But I do want to say to Dr. Strickland, sometimes as a leader, you have to make a decision. And the board of trustees. Trustee, that word is critical. So there are times in life with this kind of situation where Mount Vernon came together, and even in our churches, they talked about the schools being open or homeschool. And you know what? I just want to say thank you too. Because there are times as a leader, you have to make a decision, even if you have to, in the meantime, get into the board, if you can get to them, but you got to make sure these kids are okay. And that was a devastating fire where that building is being condemned, and my family was very affected by it. So I want to say thank you. And look, they came to me and said, Lynn, I think that was good that the superintendent opened up homeschool. That was great. And I said it was. And I just want to say, I was going to thank you anyway tonight because, you know, even in our churches, they were thankful that that was something that you chimed in and did. And Mount Vernon did come together. And we really did. And so there are times when you're right. You know, you got to say, hey, trustees, we're doing X, Y, Z. But there's those critical moments where as a leader, a leader's leader, you have to make a decision. And then everybody comes together and say thank you because it's a critical decision. So I just want to say thank you too, and my family definitely did thank you. Opening up homeschool as well as Dole Center and all the places that were opened. And they couldn't get to the funeral, but we had our funeral, and, you know, we just did what we had to do too. I was just going through it. And I wanted to be at homes myself, but, you know, I'm still wrestling with stuff that I have to do in terms of the things that I've already gone through besides initially being sick, you know. But I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking that leadership role. And you can't stand there sometimes and say, should I or shouldn't I? Listen, in that kind of situation, you got to bring everybody together, you know. And little old Mount Vernon, listen, came together. So school districts, the city, and we can worry about the other stuff a little later, like you said. When you collaborate with the city and the mayor, you know, how can we bring this together even financially? So, listen, thank you. And thank you to our community and for our children, because our children matter. So, and I'm sure they was grateful to be in the school. Yes. To leave from a school to go to school. And that matters to them. So, you know, it's a good thing. And I hear you too, Sabrina, don't think I don't, but that was a critical, I got to make this decision. Okay, board members, I made this decision. And I'm good with it. So.
In-house counsel, Royce Russell.
Well, I'll just say that I just want to make sure the community understand that the decision wasn't haphazard, right? There was protocol. He went to the executive cabinet first. He and I had our little, what about the liabilities? Went to leadership. Everybody did their mutually exclusive thing to make it happen. And as we talked on Monday, and we continue to talk, the issues that Trustee Kelly brought up are very much in the forefront, and issues of making sure that we don't incur more than we can handle by having bodies there, right? The simple act of playing a game can lead somewhere. So, you know, we did the matrix of everything, and at the end of the day, you fall on the right side of the ledger, and we just keep on going, cross the fingers, and keep on moving. And so, when it comes down to new business, you can ratify what happened. There's an opportunity for that, and so hopefully we'll do that as a board.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay. I would like to hear from our student trustee, Adoro, if he'd like to make a comment.
I would like, honestly, I had a comment before, but with the atmosphere, I honestly felt like I should just leave it to the end, but being that the time is 9:17, I guess I should just bring it up. Wow is first of all what I would say after witnessing the aftermath of the incident, which unfortunately happened on Sunday. I came to America 3 to 4 years ago, and I have seriously never seen the togetherness that I have seen in Mount Vernon community. I was speechless, not only for the incident, but the community as a whole trying to come together and help each other. That was truly moving and inspiring. And honestly, I'm truly grateful. As a student, and I know for certain the students that were that a student that the incident affected, are truly grateful. So thank you, Dr. Strickland, for that. Well, my side of this, as also as a student trustee, with that being said, my duty are to ensure that all fellow students' voices are heard and are dealt with. And when issues arises, I'm just supposed to say that. And it's my job, when that happens, to be on the ground, helping and gathering information. Students who are affected by the fire should be our main priority. I tried to look at this from a psychological standpoint, but I could never imagine the trauma that students must feel. So I feel like there should be more counseling there, which I'll leave it up to the board. Some students actually more like some people, after having a traumatic event, especially after losing so much and pretending nothing happened, is extremely wrong and literally unhealthy. And academically, I will keep this short and put any comments to our next board meeting. But this was my question for the board, basically. What is the school district doing to ensure that this incident will not affect the students' educational world? And that's where I'll leave it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very thoughtful comments. Dr. Strickland, would you like to?
Great question, student trustee Adoro. We've had to do quite a few things. We've had to ensure that all of the students got a new laptop. Some students lost their devices in the homes. So the older students were issued new Chromebooks. The younger students were issued new iPads. We provided additional sort of trauma, illness, and grief individuals at our main site, which was Lincoln. A lot of the students, the majority of the students that were affected were at Lincoln School. The principal, I also want to give her a shout out, Mrs. Jones, just came down and has, she was in communication with me every step of the way on Saturday or Sunday, just telling me the things that she would need. She was talking to members of the executive cabinet, and we were just like literally bopping heads as things popped up to make sure that the students got what they need. I started, the city and myself, we were appealing for student clothes so that they could go to school. I actually talked to all of the families about 3 times. One at the Dole Center, that was the heat of the devastation, and twice at homes. I told them all to make sure they send their children to school, because that's where the continuity would be. If they are going to school, that's where our resources are. We have school counselors there, we have social workers, we have psychologists, and so that's what's happening. We have individual trustees and members of my staff that are transporting students to school, just to make sure they make it. As you heard, many of the students, I made some slick comments yesterday saying, yeah, you should go to school tomorrow. And it was great to hear Trustee Peterson state that those babies are ready to go, and they were excited to be there, and the high schoolers too. But we are also setting up specific rooms. So there's homework rooms, there's rooms for the kids to watch TV, to do art, to play games, to be normal as possible. I walked in yesterday, kid was shooting hoops in front of the little cots, and I couldn't even get mad because I'm like, at least they're not, in a bad situation. So other than that, we're doing a lot, our part for our students, and that's obviously my number one most important piece. But they are hopefully getting their needs met. And that's all.
Thank you. There's nothing else. We can move on to item 7.1, new business.
No.
I'm sorry.
Should be 6.1.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked so much, I almost forgot you, Dr. Wilkins. 6.1, accept the state monitor's report. May we entertain a motion? Any questions?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Okay. Motion carries.
Accepted. Thank you. And we will now move on to new business. I know we have one item at least on the table. We will address that one first.
Or do you want to do the motion to ratify the actions of Dr. Strickland before that? Shouldn't take long.
We can do it.
You want to do it after?
We can do it after because I
Okay.
know we have this one pending. So that was. Let's do yours first.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Board of Education adopt the resolution titled Protection of School Tax Revenues from Abatement as previously distributed to the members of this board. And with your permission, I'd like to read the resolution into the public record.
Please do.
Resolution, Protection of School Tax Revenues from Abatement. Whereas the Mount Vernon City School District depends heavily on local property tax revenues to fund its educational programs, facilities, and staff, and whereas the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency has periodically granted long-term tax abatements, particularly to housing developments under payment in lieu of taxes pilot agreements, which divert or reduce school tax revenues that would otherwise support the Mount Vernon City School District. And whereas these tax abatements can significantly affect the district's financial stability, its ability to maintain programs, and the educational opportunities afforded to Mount Vernon students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Mount Vernon City School District affirms that only a duly elected school board should have the authority to abate school tax revenues, that the Mount Vernon City School District must retain full and exclusive control over its own tax base, and that the district's share of local property taxes must be protected from abatement by the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency or any other entity. Be it further resolved that the board directs the superintendent or his designee to transmit this resolution to the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency, the Mount Vernon City Council, and the New York State Legislature for their consideration. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to entertain a motion to consider. Okay, entertain a motion.
A second? A second?
I need a motion. Who motion?
Okay.
Second. Trustee McDonough. Discussion.
May I begin as the one who introduced the resolution?
Yes, please.
Thank you. In October 2025, the Good Government Advocacy Group Reinvent Albany, in collaboration with students in the State Policy Advocacy Clinic at the Brooks School of Public Policy at Cornell University, issued a new report titled Policy Crossroads, Reconsidering IDA Housing Tax Breaks in New York. I'd like to just read a couple of brief quotes that were made in response to that report. The first quote, "It is of grave concern to us that school districts are forced to give away tax dollars intended for them to subsidize economically ineffective and ethically challenged industrial development agencies. In the meantime, school districts have to tax home and business property owners at higher rates to make up for the shortfalls because of IDAs. In a state which has the highest property taxes in the country, we need to be reversing this regressive tax system, which particularly impacts small businesses and low and moderate income homeowners." That quote was from Reverend Peter Cook, the executive director of the New York State Council of Churches. And a second quote, "Every community deserves both affordable housing and well-funded public schools, not one at the expense of the other. It's long past time to rein in IDAs, ensure transparency, and protect the school funding that belongs to our classrooms, not in corporate subsidies." That quote is from Melinda Person, the president of the New York State United Teachers, the union that represents our teachers. Madam President, adoption of this resolution will signal the board's unified stance to safeguard school tax revenues. It will strengthen our position in discussions with the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency and other governmental agencies that would contemplate abating school taxes, and it will provide a formal basis for communicating our position to the Mount Vernon City Council, the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency, and the New York State Legislature. Madam President, this resolution doesn't attack any specific development project. It simply establishes a principle that no outside agency should have the authority to give away school tax dollars without the formal consent of this elected school board body. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone that would like to speak in opposition of the motion? Trustee Peterson?
Thank you, President Marable. And I am all for this. However, like I mentioned previously to Trustee McDonough, we have to propose legislation. We have to almost do like a us two type of thing where, like in the state of New Jersey, that's what they did. Districts got together and they were able to change some of their pilot laws. So we have to propose legislation. Us having this resolution, that's saying Westchester County can say the same thing. Oh, we don't want our taxes abated either without our say so. We have to propose legislation, solid legislation to go to the state, go up there, present this so we can make it solid.
Anyone for? Vice President Mitchell?
So, Trustee McDonough, thank you for bringing this this new business. We've listened to countless presentations on the how pilots have been destroying our school district for several years before you came on and you took the helm of the IDA committee, our committee. So you provided more light, but it's very simple. You can go on Google and just look up the negative impact of New York IDAs on schools. And to recap, reduced funding, higher taxes for residents, flawed tax cap formula, and perverse incentives. You look at the fact that this has played a part in why we had gentlemen speak to why teachers feel unappreciated. IDAs and these pilots' impact on school district dollars has played a role in why we're where we are now, where we can't just tell our bread and butter, which is our teachers, show them, here's appreciation. It's part of the formula. It's not just all the other things that we have been shown over the past year and change about fiscal disarray. It also has a great deal to do with this. So, but I will not deny that we should definitely do it right. So I hear what Trustee Peterson is saying, and I think that I believe legal should be the main conjuncture here that tells us how do we move, how can we move right now, what goes next. I think it would be best to hear to our President Marable your ideas.
Okay, do we have anyone that opposes? Anyone else on the opposing side? Okay, I do want to clarify a couple of things, and then I'll recognize Trustee McDonough. This is a proposal to support the impact that IDAs, the negative impact that IDAs have on public schools. There is a vehicle through NYSBA where we actually have an advocacy group where we can present this particular motion if we support it as a board. Once we support it or vote or decide to support it or not as a board, if we decide to support it, we present it to the NYSBA advocacy group. We could also ask other school districts to join us in that process. It doesn't have to go through legislation. What it does is it provides us an opportunity to have others advocate and have the membership arm who actually has legislative tentacles, so to speak, that will actually help they lobby for us. So that would be the vehicle or the way that they would actually assist us in trying to get this through legislation, because what happens with legislation is it gets backlogged and it gets sitting on someone's desk, and it never goes anywhere. So this is actually, I believe, a vehicle that would actually help to move the agenda along in a process that would minimize the impact if we can get other people to join us. But we as a board have to agree that it's something that's necessary. Trustee McDonough.
Yeah, that was very well put. And Trustee Peterson, I do agree. I think there is a long-term legislative solution. I think this is one initial step in that direction. This binds us together to a principle that we should be in control of our own tax base. And Trustee Mr., just to put a little context on this, I know I presented a lot of numbers to you guys in the past, but I did a little bit of work just to get something real tight for tonight. So from 2020 to 2024, okay, I used the IDA's audited financial statements to pull this data, okay? I tracked 20 projects that received these payment in lieu of taxes agreements. Had those 20 projects paid their full school taxes over that period of time, they would have paid us $19.67 million, okay? Instead, they made pilot payments to us in the amount of $5.8 million. That means we had to forego $13.85 million in taxes just from 2020 to 2024. That is very, very significant to our tax coffers. We should be in control of deciding that. No other body should. So this is a first step, I think. That's all. So thank you.
Any other, Trustee Peterson?
To piggyback off of what Trustee McDonough said, I also was doing research, and I was astounded that Mount Vernon has so many pilots with residential developing built, like we have an abnormally, it is. Usually, pilots should be with big businesses that come in that we will have business from and that can create income and things like that and jobs to the community. And Mount Vernon has it with all these housing. And that has set us back so much. And I don't think really, and it wasn't until I really sat down, went through the numbers, and I was digging, and I was like, this is insane, and how it has contributed to the decline of our school district. So let's go. First step.
Okay.
Let's go.
Any other questions? Are we ready to call for the vote? All those in favor? Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Second item of new business, I'd like to entertain a motion to, number one, to ratify the decision of the superintendent to offer Leadership Academy, Honor Academy, AKA Home School, in support of the devastating fire that occurred on Sunday, with the understanding that we will meet with Mount Vernon City Municipality to determine what sharing of finances may need to occur so that the district is not saddled or burdened with inordinately. So I'd like to ask for a motion.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. Call for the vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Do we have any committee reports? Trustee Brown? Okay. So let's move forward with the agenda. We have a consent. Trustee Peterson?
As far as for the parent engagement, we on December 3rd, the PTA Council will be having a conversation with the state monitor at Graham School. Isn't it Wednesday, December 3rd? Check that date. I'm checking right now. It's the 3rd. It's the 3rd. Yes. Okay. All right. So on Wednesday, December 3rd, the PTA Council will be hosting a parent conversation with our state monitor, Dr. Kimberly Young-Wilkins, at Graham School. The time will be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Graham School. So that's Wednesday, December 3rd. Parents, come on out. If you weren't able to, we definitely, by those numbers that Dr. Strickland mentioned, the 5,200 views and the 2,900 shows us that the parents may not have been right in this room with us that night that you gave that presentation, but they definitely were watching. So parents, come on out Wednesday, December 3rd at Graham School from 6 to 7 p.m. so you can have a good conversation and chat with our state monitor, Dr. Wilkins. Thank you.
All right, Vice President Mitchell, you have something to share.
I'm going to be fast, if I can, without the feedback. All right, so just
My
shout-
dinner's waiting.
Yeah, mine too. So shouting out the Parent Resource Center at Graham. Visit it. Go check it out. It's amazing what they did in that small space. Thanks to everybody involved from the cabinet level on down. And of course, I'm always a huge advocate of our parent liaisons who are very appreciated and very valuable. I was at the Fall Festival at Graham School. Amazing. They had this bubble machine I thought it was smoke. The bubbles were non-stop. I never seen a bubble machine that put out that much bubbles in my life. I thought I was going to see the make. I thought I was going out of here. But it was really a great event and a huge turnout. I went to the Sound of Music of Buena Vista production at Denzel Washington, and I literally thought I was on Broadway. This was an incredible production. The students, the costumes, the sets, the singing, the dancing was absolutely just high level. There wasn't enough money to pay for a ticket to see these students perform. And thanks, of course, to Ms. Thomas at the Denzel Washington and everybody that was involved, Mr. Gorey, who's steadily always involved from the music aspect and everything else. And I want to remind everyone, you can the public, as well as every school building, can invite trustees to their events. There's a link on the page underneath Board Trustees drop down, one of 3,000 drop downs. You can go and you can invite trustees to attend any event. And when you click that, it sends an email to all of us so that we can come to the events, because we don't always know what's going on and we'd like to show up. This is a present board. This is a show up, come to you, come see you, come see, we come. This is that board that's present. So let's make sure we'd like to show up. And I did go over to the high school last Friday just to take a peek at the lunch, because y'all heard me arguing about food, and it's not just because I like to eat, but because I want to make sure the babies is eating. Things are looking better. I'm going to let my fellow trustee, when she gets to her report eventually for food services, I'll leave it for Trustee Brown when she presents her report about food services as well. But it was nice to see that there's an uptick on what the kids are being served. I was pleasantly surprised. Thank you to Ms. Jackson and to our Sodexo team who are working to try to bring things to a better place.
Okay. I have Trustee Brown. You have a comment? And then Trustee Scott.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to hold my committee report in essence of time, but I just wanted to piggyback on Trustee Mitchell. The last board meeting, we really didn't get to go over, and so there was that fall festival. But prior to that, I was at Graham for their fall family day, and I just wanted to shout out Dr. McGregor, and I was able to work with a young man, Isaiah Joseph, and he was an 8th grader. And he was tasked with taking a tally of the sports that the kids liked. And at the end, he had to figure out how many each grouping there was. And as we worked together, he was like, I can't do this in my head. And I was like, we're going to do it together. And that young man was able to tally all of those things in his head. And he was so proud, and I was so proud of him. And it moved me. And to see that spirit in that building was amazing. But I just wanted to definitely give, again, a big shout out to Dr. McGregor. And that young man, Isaiah Joseph, I said to him, I'm going to shout you out. So, Isaiah, this is your shout out, my man. You did really good, and I was super proud of you. And I promise that I'm going to continue to work with him whenever he wants me to. So, Isaiah, you have me. Trustee Brown, I got you. And so I just wanted that to be, I promised him, and I didn't get to do it the last time. So I just want to say that again. And I also went to Denzel Washington for their Battle of the Bands, and it was amazing. And if you didn't go, you missed a show. And so, again, I wanted to piggyback on Trustee Mitchell that, yes, invite us. We will show up. I brought my daughter, and it was a school night, and she didn't want to leave, and I didn't want her to leave either. And it was amazing. So just invite us. We come. We are present, and we are enjoying the things. And so I just want to say thank you. And again, Isaiah, this is for you.
Okay, Trustee Scott.
Thank you very much. I will also, go ahead.
Just before you go, I just want to acknowledge our student trustee. I know it's getting late. If you feel as though you need to leave, I just want to make sure that you know that it's okay. All right, Trustee Scott.
Thank you, thank you. I too will hold my committee report until next time. I chair the technology committee, and I wanted to share that we did meet. We have a huge feat in front of us, but I think that we are prepared to make sure that we accomplish all the goals and objectives that are set forth. The first meeting was very spirited and well discussed, and we know what we have to do. So I just wanted to share that and thank the members that attended that meeting, and I will report out at the next meeting.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Right. We have discussed all of these items in our November 14th work session. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to authorize to accept agenda items 9.1 through 13.7. Any discussion?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We have some items that were presented after the work session in items 14 through 14.24. I'd like to know if there are any resolutions. These are standard resolutions for HR for the most part. If there are any items on here that you'd like to have pulled, please identify it now. Okay, let's pull 14.19. Any other item? Well, we're gonna pull and then discuss. If there's, so if you wanna discuss any item, you'd have to pull it so we can discuss it, or if not, we're gonna do a general vote. Fourteen point 11. Let's pull it, please. Any other item? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept items 14.1 through 14.24 with the exception of 14.11 and 14.19. May I have a motion? Second, we have a discussion? Okay. Let's call for the vote.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Okay.
And Wanda White is not here, right?
Right. Okay, so let's take a look at 14.11, please.
14.11. Okay. Approval of.
I'd like to entertain a motion for 14.11, Human Resources Resolution Number 134B, classified approval of a provisional appointment.
Have a motion, please?
I need a motion before we can
14?
discuss.
Okay.
Do I have a motion? Second. Okay, discussion. Who would like to be recognized? Who? Can't remember who. I
Questions,
can't remember who.
concerns, discussion? I think that was,
Trustee
Trustee
Middleton, you had something you needed to.
Because I went, kind of quick, and I wanted to do 14.11 and 14.17.
Okay, we
Can we back up a little bit? Or go
We'd
forward
have
a
to
little bit?
rescind, we'd have to rescind
We do that?
the vote and go back.
Yeah, I just wanted to
So
make sure I had the right number.
Okay, so,
No, it is 14.11 and 14.17.
okay, we would have to
Two of them.
rescind, so I would need a motion to rescind the vote to authorize 14.1 through 14.24 with the exception of 14.11 and 14.19.
Only two.
Okay, discussion? Okay. Call for the vote?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Okay. Motion carries.
Okay,
To
so-
rescind.
Okay, so let's go back. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept resolutions 14.19, 14.1 through 14.24 with the exceptions of 14.11, 14.17, and 14.19.
Second.
Discussion?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Off-
I'm sorry, who was first on that one? Okay, Chris? Mitch,
Warren
okay.
and Chris.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Okay. So 14.11 is a resolution for Human Resources, resolution not number 134B, classified approval of a provisional appointment. Your question? You have a question?
My concern with that, or my question is.
Oh, no, you have to, I'm sorry. We have to, I need a motion. Did we do?
Okay.
But anyway, my question. No, hold on a second.
No,
Do
no.
we got to do a motion before we can discuss? Sorry about that.
So.
I'm sorry, it's getting late.
I know.
Motion,
Okay. Second.
motion,
Motion.
motion second? Who seconded?
It's 14.
Zakai, okay. So
So it was.
discussion.
Okay. Zakai.
Okay, so my question is, in terms of that provisional payroll position, did it go through civil service? And is there a list that may be in the making, and we didn't go through civil service to see if there was real qualifications there for that particular individual?
So I believe Dr. Strickland has background on that, so I'll let him answer.
Yep. So, and also my state monitor, our state monitor could attest to a meeting that was had. We did, in fact, there is no list, there's no people on the payroll clerk list. Therefore, we are allowed to hire someone provisionally. As a result, what's going to happen is, soon as that test comes up, this individual has to take the test and has to pass in order to maintain that job. Or, we would have to then start canvassing the list of the people that are there. So we actually do have it in writing. We have the list of resumes that was sent to civil service. I made sure that our associate superintendent verified, and that's why it remained on the tab.
Okay, so I just wanted to know if all of that did take place.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Always do things the right way, I promise.
Civil service, because we didn't past practices.
No, trust me, and that's why I'm actually even more happy that our state monitor was there and could verify.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay. Call for the vote. Those in favor?
All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Abstain? Okay. Motion
carries.
carries. Okay, Wanda White.
So let's move to 14.19. No, 14.17. I'm looking at 14.17, calling 14.19. Authorize an employment agreement with Lauren McCoy as an Executive Director of Strategic Development. Motion? Question?
So my question is, who is she? Did I miss something, or was there a vote? Was there an introduction? Was there a, because I just don't know who she is as a board member. Was she introduced to us? Or is she already here and I just don't know who she is? Or what did I miss? Because I could have missed some things,
So I'll let Dr. Strickland respond.
Yeah, I've been given updates all along about the fact that we have issues with grants, and guess what? This report tells us that this individual is someone that is extremely qualified to move the district forward with getting grants for the district, organizing our portfolios by school, and it's paid for by title funds. I will say that the individual has come down for the paperwork. They went through a 3-pronged interview process, as That's how I've designed it, and the individual will be able to meet in future board meetings.
Okay, so we just got a name as per what you just said,
and
basically we're just gonna vote on it.
Well, and you also have the resume and the board docs as well.
Yeah, sort
and
of
the
back up,
executive
but
content.
I don't know. I think I'm just that person or board member that when there's no introduction or when we don't know who is coming and what the contract is or who they are and and then kind of surprise and say, hey, this is who they are now, so you vote on it. I don't know. I just sometimes have a problem with that. That's all. I do.
So, the superintendent hires the staff. The board hires the superintendent and the clerk. And let me dare say that I don't think that we want to be part of the hiring process. Right. I'm just saying, this is just my comment. Right. Because what
Who it is that's coming in, who we're going to be working with prior to sitting here, and then you got to read it maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, we get here Tuesday, and then we're reading about somebody in the backup that we
talk to the mic.
Talking to the mic.
Okay, but you did hear me, right?
No.
Did you
I
hear
did,
me? Oh,
I
you did.
did.
In the community.
But we
you
on
didn't
the
hear me either.
matter of record.
Okay, so I'm just saying, I think it's a matter of courtesy, to know before now who it is that is coming in, recognize the name. Because when I look at names and there's no, real recognition because we haven't been introduced or even had a conversation, or not unless y'all had a conversation and we didn't know. I didn't know as a board member. And then just to be able to get it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Monday, and on Tuesday, say, hey, this is the backup, this is who it is for, whatever it is. And I'm not against that, but I'm just saying that, I just don't know who people are until they get here, and then we got to vote on it.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna ask our in-house counsel to address it, but I just want clarity because I guess I want to be able to understand what the question that you're asking. So the question that you're asking is that when the superintendent presents someone to be hired, you're asking to meet that person before the resolution. Is that what you're asking? Because I just need to be clear.
No.
Okay, so
Just back up,
yeah, okay.
But I really don't want to say.
Okay.
And that is that from the inception of coming in here in July, I think it was July maybe, and it's an emergency, and we need this person. Let's do it tonight. Not even knowing who they are, not even seeing a resume, and still I haven't seen one to date, and I'm just being good right now. Okay? So my point is if we continue to walk that road, then we continue to vote on who we don't know, and we will get to know. So I have a problem with that. I do.
Okay, so I guess I'm not aware or I don't remember.
You want me to remind you right now?
Well, I don't know. Can
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, all right.
But
So
like
I'm
said,
just,
I don't
recall.
want it to be an emergency or we got to have this person.
So it's not an emergency.
No, hold on. I'm just giving you an example.
Okay.
And then we do it, and then to say, hey, we don't want to do what happened in past practices. So we're not
No,
going
we
to make
don't.
that right.
Right.
And I think I told you that
Yes, we
when
have.
we did that the first time. And you said, well, it's only going to be this time, and we're only going to do it this time, right? And then we come back, and we did it again, and then we do it again. So it's not personal, Dr. Strickland. It ain't nothing against what you want. And I'm not saying that we don't need a strategic development person and none of that. But I think that as a board, I don't need to sit here on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day I read these docs, and say, wow, who is that? That's my point. And so I just think, because I don't think it wasn't like that before, if I can remember correctly. Yes and no.
I don't know.
But I'm just saying, if I can
Not
remember
familiar with-
sometimes,
not familiar with
yes
that.
and no, and then with times it was like that, I think I mentioned to you, we don't want to walk backwards.
That's true.
First time that it came across this floor.
But I guess I'm
So I'm
not
just being good
familiar.
about not really trying to be detailed.
Well, we can talk offline because it is a personnel matter. We could talk offline. You can
Well,
remind me.
it's a board
You can
matter.
remind me, please.
Yeah, it's a
Trustee
board matter.
Peterson.
No, I completely understand where Trustee Middleton is coming from, and that salary is it's a very large salary. And usually with a salary that size, you usually have a depth of experience in that field. And I personally I don't agree with this either. So that's,
Okay, so, in-house counsel, would you like to address some of these concerns? 'Cause,
Well, in reference to voting on the matter, each trustee can vote the way they deem necessary, so that's not taken from them. But it's from a procedural perspective, unless a step was skipped, usually what happens is people are interviewed, you have the finalist is presented to the board. The board at that time has all the time to ask any questions. Why is this person the finalist? Looking at the person's resume, or they can just adopt what the superintendent has said as the finalist. And then what happens, a vote occurs on that. Now, unless a step was skipped, you're only going to get a piece of paper and the recommendation of the superintendent based upon the compact committee. There's not going to be a time where someone comes in and sits down and meets the board when the board hasn't voted whether this person has a job or not. The person is not going to come here and sit here, and then the board decides, all right, it's a 5-4 vote, you don't get the job. That's never going to happen. So you're never really going to be introduced to that person at this level. When we use a search firm, something of that nature, like we did with the superintendent, then you have that board involvement. So it should not be rushed. I understand what Trustee Middleton is saying. I've been here where it has been rushed, so I do understand that. But I don't see that in this case. So it will be a time, and it will always wind up like this. You'll get the resume, you'll have it for a period of time, you'll go through the working session, and then it'll be time to vote at some point or another.
okay, I do see, because we did not discuss it in the work session, we're bringing it now. I got it. Thank you. It's just a long, it wasn't part of the work session is what you're saying. I guess that's what you're saying. But, okay. I got it.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
I got it. I mean, maybe I don't have it.
We
but-
all grown and adults, so if
Okay,
you don't get it, you ain't got it.
So we can call for the vote?
I have one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just one question.
Go ahead.
This title, did we know that this title was going to be introduced? Is this a new title in our district?
So this person is going to be responsible for the grants and the managing of grants in the district. It's through title funds, and it's absent of the union. The name had to be chosen carefully because of the fact that we need to make sure we don't interfere with MVAG. Okay.
can I, who,
Okay, I'm sorry. So Trustee Peterson, Trustee Middleton, you have another comment after Trustee Peterson?
I was.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just because that, like I said, it goes back to the pay scale. The pay scale, to me, is for someone who has extensive experience in grant writing, and from what I'm seeing, I don't feel comfortable with a salary that large for this position with that amount of experience.
Okay. Trustee Middleton?
Don't get me wrong, because we have needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, I think there's proper protocol and a process that we need to take that at times we didn't take. And that we need to not be surprised, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, I like to know it before I'm reading it tonight or yesterday or the day before, that's all.
Dr. Strickland, would you like to address?
I do want to share, like, every week I provide you all a letter, and I've been given updates on this position in particular, a position which our auditors have now deemed an area of high need. and we need a great deal of management. I am extremely familiar of what this individual is capable of and has done remarkable work in the past. And not only that, because of their work, that's why I was able to leave a district with a fund balance of $285 million because of the amount of work that was done in acquiring and managing grants by the state, by the federal government. And, you know, I can't go deeper because it becomes personnel, but again, you guys got to trust me. You got to trust me. And no, I'm just, again, it is a high need. And that's how I have to leave it. And I don't know if the state monitor wants to chime in. I mean, I don't, or, yeah, okay.
But Doc, just know that what you just said, none of that is the problem, okay? But the point that I'm trying to make is what I already said. I can't say it enough. It's just knowing who, you know, I don't want to read about somebody and not know who they are. They can be the best person on the planet Earth. But I'm just saying, and really good for our district, it's just that, I don't know. It's like somebody coming to your house and you let them in and you're like, who is this? Why you get in my house? Who are you? Same thing, yeah.
Dr. Wilkins, you.
I'll be really brief. It sounds like it's about communication more so than anything else. Yeah, maybe that's even I understand, but it sounds like it's communication, and also this position is really needed. You had to change the name for obvious reasons, but y'all need the grant writer and the grant controller or director, whatever you want to call her, because you're missing money at this point. Her salary will be probably paid over 5 times over within the first year, just with the grants that she's going to be able to come in. So it becomes really important. The same thing with the Medicaid. Once you get a Medicaid person coming in, because y'all need a Medicaid director, whatever you want to call him or her, they will make the money hands fold within the first year. So certain things you're going to have to bring in, they're going to be money makers. I hate to say it like that. They really will be money makers. But it's really about the communication and how y'all get the information and the time frame that you have the information. I'm just listening. That's what it seems to be.
And
Trustee Peterson?
Thank you, President Mayor. I completely understand what you're saying, Dr. Wilkins, but when we have teachers who don't have a contract and don't have, you know, that's, this, even yes, it's coming from Title I funds, the salary it's too high for me.
I hear what you're saying, but
They can bring in millions, but.
But the issue also comes down to we have to get a balanced budget. We got to go back to our fiscal CFO and get to the bottom line when it comes to negotiations. And again, I don't think there's one person in this room that doesn't agree with you about the teaching staff. Your teaching staff is outstanding. And I said to you before, your glass is half full because of your teaching staff, not your fiscal decisions. Your teaching staff has held the standard. They have held the standard, and most districts that have a monitor have receivership schools. Y'all don't have any of that. Your graduation rate is good, considering where your fiscal situation is. So no one, I think, in this room is going to ever argue about the quality of the teaching that's going on. So you guys have it going on at this point. Now we have to figure out the fiscal part of it so that you can honor what you're doing with your teachers and your support staff. Your fiscal is messy. Let's just call it what it is. I took your internal audit and put it inside my report. I want to now take the new one and put it inside there as well. And your external audit and everything else. I embedded it in there. So there's no new surprises, but you've got to clean up the fiscal piece so we can get to the teachers. They need this. Your support staff needs this, but you've got to clean this mess up. You got to do it quickly, too. You have like 6 months, so.
Okay. All right, call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you. 14.19, authorization for the rejection of bid for snow removal from bid number 2025/26-04, snow removal services.
Motion?
Motion, calling for a motion.
Motion, please?
Motion.
Okay.
May I have a second?
And
Moved and properly seconded. Any questions?
Question. My question on this particular one is, I thought when we hired the landscaping, was that part of the snow removal? And if not, is it? Somebody answer, can anybody answer that?
So-
Because this was, and then why was this rescinded? Okay, that's it.
So it was actually rescinded because, I'm sorry? No, go ahead. Because I don't. Oh, it was rescinded because we did not need the level of service that we were asking for. And we are then now going back to the table to determine what actually we can't do and what we can do to make sure when we put it before you, we have the right bid, for whatever we may need or may not need.
Was this part of a landscape or no?
That I can't answer, but what I will do is I will look it up and get that information.
Okay, thank you.
It is my understanding
it's
that it was always separate. It wasn't part, but I can go back to that. And once again, once the bid was out of whack in reference to what we need, then it's rejected.
Thank you.
Trustee Brown.
In regards to this bid, is it going to be a competitively bid?
Yes, that's why we went for RFP.
And it's gonna
So
go
the
back
thing
out.
is, unfortunately, I think we had one come in. And again, there's certain things that our custodial staff can do, and there's certain things that they cannot. So they would handle the things that they cannot. But we have to redo the RFP, and then we bring to you, whatever the best offer is, or the most polite, who can provide the best service for the district at the best cost, the most efficient cost. I'm just leaving it.
Okay, call for the vote.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Okay. On your agenda, it says 15 executive session. We are not going to vote on executive session. So Rita will change it. Our district clerk, James, will change the 15 section to adjournment. So we're going to vote on 15.1, which is renumbering, to a motion to adjourn the meeting. May I have a motion? Second? Question, discussion, objection? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? We are now adjourned. Have a great holiday, everyone.